It's time we have a serious talk about Iowa State basketball. And think about this for a minute. Iowa State opened up conference play on the road at Oklahoma. In that game, the outcome, they lost 63 to 71. They only lost by 8 points. All three of their losses in conference play have come on the road. Their most recent loss came to a team who is a really good team in the conference at Baylor. They lost by 2 points. They made a 3 point shot as time expired, and their freshman forward, Milo Momcilovic, banked in. Ultimately, it went to replay, and they determined that the ball was still in his hands as time expired when he was getting ready to release his shot. Their only bad loss this season has been on the road against the BYU Cougars. The BYU is a good basketball team as well. That's their only loss by double digit points too. They are known for protecting their home court. Hill and Magic is real. After their loss to Oklahoma, they had to turn around, go play at home against an undefeated Houston team at the time. Houston was ranked number 2 in the nation. But guess what? They beat the Houston Cougars in their home court. They are 15-0 at home. They have an undefeated home record. There's only a couple other teams in the Big 12 who are undefeated at home. That is Houston, and that is the Kansas Jayhawks. Iowa State, even though they have 3 losses, they are also one of the better road teams in the conference too. They are 4-3 on the road. 2 other teams have a 4-3 road record or better. That is Houston, and that is the TCU Horned Frogs. Kansas may be undefeated at home, but they only have 1 road game this season. That 1 road win was against the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who is in last place in the Big 12 currently. Kansas is 1-5 on the road. Iowa State's style of play is unique, and it's not like much other teams in the Big 12 or in the nation. They rely heavily on defense. The Iowa State defense can play man-to-man, they can play zone, and they can guard the perimeter. They might not be the best at defending the 3-point shots in their opponents, but they know how to attack, they know how to get up in your face, and they know how to force their opponents to take the shots, take some hard shots, which sometimes goes down and other times misses. Iowa State has a bunch of good players surrounding their team, but you only ever hear of maybe 2 or 3. Keyshawn Gilbert is a crucial ingredient for this Iowa State team. Today against Texas Tech, he led the team in points, he led the team in rebounds, and he led the team in assists. He will be a big factor come the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament. He can shoot threes, he can dish out assists, he can rebound, but he can also shoot in the paint. Tamin Lipsey, their sophomore point guard, is on pace for arguably breaking the all-time steals record at Iowa State, and he's only a sophomore. He still has 2 years left of school if he decides to stay. He's a really good defender, something that won't show up in the box stats, but when you watch him play, you can just see that he has a bright future ahead of him, and he has the basketball IQ of a genius, it seems like. He's dishing out the ball to his teammates, but he's also making plays with his feet, and he's driving the ball. He's leading the Iowa State offense. He's creating a style of play that is best suited for the Iowa State team, but he's also bringing it back down. He's the leader, you can say, of the Iowa State starting 5. Their freshman forward, Milan Momcilovic, he is 6'4", 6'5", but he can shoot threes when he's on. He's one of the better 3-point shooters that Iowa State has. Today, the 3-point shots didn't go down, but when he's on, he's on. And that can also be considered one of Iowa State's weaknesses. They are not a really good, consistent three-point shooting team. You can rely on guys like Milan, Keyshawn Gilbert to make threes. You can rely more recently on Curtis Jones to hit some threes, but they won't always go down. Today, Iowa State made just 6 out of their 19 three-point shots, but they still won that game. They won that game by forcing Texas Tech to commit 16 turnovers. Iowa State is one of the top 5 teams in the nation who force their opponents to turn the ball over. They are forcing almost 20.8 turnovers per game, and 20 is a high number. They scored 22 points off of Texas Tech's turnovers. Texas Tech scored 0 points off of 6 Iowa State turnovers. Iowa State can play really good defense, which has won them games at times. They might have not won the game based on offense, but it is their defense who are making the plays for them. And when they get a turnover, when they get a steal, when they block it, and when they have the ball in their hands driving down the court, you just know that it's going to be a really good shot. Iowa State's starting 5 consists of Tamin Lipsey, Keyshawn Gilbert, Trey King after coming back from an injury, Robert Jones, and oh boy, you have Keyshawn Gilbert, Tamin Lipsey, Robert Jones, Trey King, and Milan Momcilovic. Those all 5 of their starters are really talented. They also have some great talent off of the bench. Jackson Pavlovsky has been getting some good minutes for Iowa State, and he can make shots too. He's also a really good defender. He's a really good defender like Tamin Lipsey is. Curtis Jones has scored in double digits out of his last 8 games. He was a big reason why Iowa State won on the road at TCU when Iowa State was without Lipsey at the time. Hassan Ward is a really good defender, but he can also get some dunks going, which I like to call it as posterized. Trey King, the forward. You might not know this, but he can hit 3-point shots too when you leave him open and when he's on. He made 4 3-pointers against the Kansas Jayhawks. And for a guy who's a forward, hitting threes is going to be a big strength of his down the line when it comes to the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament. Iowa State right now in mock seeding is a 3 seed. That might seem too high for some people, but that also might be too low. But when you take a look at their resume right now, non-conference strength of schedule might come back to hurt them. They were playing easy teams in non-conference games. Their only 2 losses in the non-conference came in a November tournament. Other than that, you're not really impressed with the Iowa State team. But when you get to conference play, you'll notice that they have wins over a Texas team who's really good. They have wins over a Houston team, wins over the Kansas Jayhawks. They swept TCU both at home and on the road, and they went on the road and picked up a massive win at Cincinnati, a team that people say is hard to beat at their home court. And they also just beat Texas Tech, who had an 18-6 overall record coming into this game. Iowa State are good contenders to make a run in the NCAA tournament. I'm not saying that they're going to make it to the national championship. I'm not saying that they're going to make it to the Final Four, but they are Final Four contenders. They are Final Four contenders because of the way they play, the way they operate their offense, and the way that they are playing defense and attacking their opponents and forcing them to take their shots. Iowa State is a team that is tied for first place in the Big 12 currently, something that you don't see really often. And in the past couple of years, Iowa State has been a team who's been in the middle of the pack, hovering around 4th or 5th place in the Big 12, maybe 6th place as well. But now they have a big game coming up Monday night on ESPN at a team that they beat at Iowa State a team that is also tied for first place in the Big 12, and a game which could ultimately decide who's going to be the outright winner of the Big 12 conference. That team, the Houston Cougars. This is a game that people are already dubbing as a Final Four match. Both teams are Final Four contenders. Will they make it to the Final Four in about a month or so? Well, that remains to be seen. But Iowa State is a legit team. They are contenders for making a great run in the tournament, and they are also heavy favorites in the Big 12 tournament come mid-March. In a place where a lot of Cyclone fans and ESPN analysis and basketball experts dub Hilton South. Get ready, folks. Monday night is going to be a great game against two of the best teams in the conference, and a game where we can really find out who is going to be winners of the Big 12 conference.